Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be presenting our official first fall forecast for the fall of 2021. Now, I want to say one thing before I get started with this video. Be sure to subscribe if you like weather-related content. Also, be sure to smash the like button and leave a comment down below. For today's comment of the day, I want to know, what are your expectations as far as this upcoming fall of 2021 goes? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Let's get straight into this video, and first things first, we're taking a look here at the precipitation forecast. And as you can see, there is a lot of dry areas here because we're taking a look at the below average precipitation first off. And this is a very large area, probably one of the largest areas we've put on a seasonal forecast of temperatures or precipitation ever. It's probably one of the biggest, I would say. And it encompasses probably more than 50% of the United States here. It's just going to be dry, and especially across the southern United States, as you can see, where it reaches from sea to shining sea there, really from the east coast there to the west coast, all the way down to the Gulf Coast, and everywhere in between, there is dry conditions expected here, below average precipitation. And this is mostly due to being in a La Nina, because El Ninos bring that southern jet through the southern United States and bring that above average precipitation. During a La Nina, we see those really combine up to the north and usually bring a lot of precipitation up to the northern half of the country, and really just kind of leaving the southern United States in the dry, literally. And in this case, that is certainly true. I think that is going to be the case this year, and we can expect a lack of precipitation here for the southern United States throughout most of the fall, and probably most of the winter as well. So let's just go ahead and add that second shade of below average precipitation. This is just where we're even more confident in the dry conditions here. And as you can see, this also goes from sea to shining sea, from California all the way to North Carolina, and anywhere further south than that, really, all the way to the Gulf Coast, the Four Corner States, Texas. All of these regions have moderately below average precipitation expected. Again, without that southern jet there, you can just expect below average precipitation for most of these regions. Now, a tropical system could definitely change this for the Gulf Coast or the Southeast Coast, but obviously when we're talking about something more than a month out, which the fall starts on September 1st, that's meteorological fall, and it ends at the very end of November, we can expect that a few tropical system landfalls are probably going to happen, but we can't really forecast exactly where that's going to happen a month out or more. So we're going with the below average precipitation because most areas will expect to see that. But if there is a tropical system that landfalls somewhere in here, you can expect big changes due to that. Unforeseen changes for sure. Now we even have a far below normal precipitation area expected here for California. This is especially where they will see the most impacts from that southern jet being missing. So I'm the most confident in this region. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move on and we're going to start talking about the above average precipitation, and then we're going to get into the temperature forecast and eventually the overall forecast. Alright, now here we are taking a look at the above average precipitation here. And first things first, we have an area there for the Ohio Valley, Upper Midwest, and the Great Lakes regions of the United States. This is very common in a La Nina. This area is one of the regions that especially sees above average precipitation very frequently during La Nina years. So they don't really get the southern jet. They get more of that merged northern jet to come straight through this region. And especially if there's any troughing in the central United States, we can expect low pressure systems to ride along that jet stream and curve back up before reaching the east coast. That's if we see a southeast ridge. So oftentimes this can be shifted further east if there's not a southeast ridge expected, etc. So different things can change, but overall we expect to see an area of above average precipitation there for kind of the northeastern region, but mostly inland there, so more around the Ohio Valley, Great Lakes region. We have a second area of above average precipitation expected, and that's going to be for the northwest this time, because that northern jet, the merged one with a lot of precipitation and a lot of cooler air, usually heads in through the northwestern United States, heads back up either through Canada or kind of through the central United States, oftentimes not bringing too much precipitation, and then kind of reaching into that more eastern portion there, and that's where it brings a lot of precipitation there as well. But for the Northwest, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, and Montana, we all expect above average precipitation. We even have a moderate shade of this for Washington and Oregon. This is obviously very good news because you guys are dealing with some very hot and dry conditions right now. You can expect potentially, in my opinion, for the fall time, some cooler and more wet conditions this upcoming fall. So that's some very good news for you guys up there in the Northwest. All right, now here is the above average temperature region. And as you can see, it's going to horseshoe around the United States, basically from California and a little bit of southern Washington there, all the way down through the south central United States and then back up the East Coast. This is kind of a common pattern, especially in La Niñas. So this is mostly going based off of a La Niña pattern here. And we even have a moderate shade of that above average temperatures. And that's mostly for the Southwest, California, Nevada, and then even in through Arizona as well there. That's where we're especially confident in that above average temperature region. I expect some very warm conditions this upcoming fall for you guys there in that moderate shade of orange, especially there, and then also the East Coast, the Gulf Coast. You can expect some warmer than normal conditions, especially earlier on. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move on and take a look at the below average temperature region, and then we're going to move on and take a look at the overall forecast. Now, as you can see, we have the below average temperature region here for the Northwest and through the Rockies, and then a lot of the central United States, the Great Lakes, and the Ohio Valley region as well. This is where I expect frequent cold fronts to push through into the central United States, and that's going to bring overall some below average temperatures. I expect if we see those very, very frequent cool downs and basically a lot of cold fronts coming through, that is going to allow for cooler than normal conditions to the north and to the west of those cold front boundaries there. We even have a moderate shade of this below average temperature region, and that's going to be from Montana down through Kansas and then back up through the Great Lakes and everywhere in between. This is where we expect more frequent cool downs. We're more confident in the cooler air being in this region. Overall, should be a little bit cooler for that darker blue region. All right, now here is the exciting overall forecast for the fall of 2021. We're going to work our way from west to east. Rainy and cooler there for the Northwest, which is good news, obviously, overall. Mountain snow can be expected for these white regions. That's very common in the fall, winter, and in the spring. Basically, you have 3 months without snow there in the mountains, the Rocky Mountains. So very, very common for most months of the year there. For the Southwest, hot and very dry there for California, Nevada, and then in Arizona as well. And then hot and dry, not very dry there for the Four Corner States, Texas, and also some eastern portions of Nevada there as well. We see some Arctic air expected there for that pink region up to the north. This is especially late, obviously November, that Arctic air could be pushing in with those frequent cold fronts. Speaking of frequent cold fronts, to the south of there, that purple region, frequent cold fronts. I think that maybe I wouldn't call it Arctic air for this region, but definitely some cooler air is going to make its way down. Some very frequent cold fronts and cold blasts coming through this purple region, especially as we reach into October, November timeframe. Cold late there for that blue region. I can expect to see those cool downs and cold fronts reaching further and further south and further east as we progress towards late October, November, and eventually into December and January. These cold fronts are just going to be intruding further and further south and further east, and that is very typical. Watching the tropics here for this pink region, obviously we expect tropical activity for the Atlantic in the fall time. That's every single year. So we will be watching the tropics really closely throughout the entire fall time. Cold at times here for the Northeast. I think it could happen early, but especially could happen late as well. But definitely has a better chance of happening earlier than those darker blue regions down there to the south. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. For today's confidence tab, we're at a surprisingly high 4 out of 6. We're only about a month away from the fall time, so it's actually pretty close, and I feel quite confident. For today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, how do you think the summer has gone so far? And Alexander Castillo, so hopefully I'm saying your name right there, very, very funny comment here. This is how a lot of you feel. You guys never cease to surprise me, you cold and snow lovers. The best thing about summer is when it ends. And that's actually how a lot of people felt. So very, very interesting comment there. A little off topic, but it was definitely my favorite. For today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons, John Ben Bennick, James Wade, Dovey Nagel, Lil the Pan, and Donna Carnes, alongside our diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Codalesa, Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Cindy Klein, Mark J, Luke Vallegos, Gary, John Colisi, Dwight Phelan, and Steven Crenenthal. If you would like to join this Patreon and screen of the day, you can do so by joining our very exciting Patreon page in the description and in the pinned comments down below. I would also like to thank our channel members Hair Farms 1 and Catbite as well. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to destroy the like button and leave a comment down below to help that YouTube algorithm out. And also be sure to subscribe if you like weather related content. I will see you guys in the next video.